Doing great. Thank you. How are you?
We're doing awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for your numbers. We're net 29. So thank you very much. That's awesome. Let's keep up that momentum. And I'm going to be sharing some things with you as we move into Market Center Command. Some of you doing a really, really great job of putting your numbers in command. So thank you for that. So I want to ask you guys a question. Well, there's a couple of updates from last week. I showed you the Indy letter. And so we've revised that. So I want to show that to you with a couple of marketing pieces. We're going to talk about cap management. And I had a question. Let's see who is able to answer the question today. We'll come back to that in a minute. And then we're going to talk about a couple of other opportunities, and then about 2 o'clock-ish, Steve Tufts is going to be leading us in the economic model, how to recruit to the economic model in the MREA. So we're excited to having Steve on our call as well. So excited about that. So let's start off today with the cap management question I left you all with. I left you all with a question about the real cap management. Do you guys remember what I asked? Like, why was it originally, why it was originally designed, I'm going to say, or what the original scripting was for it?
From a budgeting standpoint, right, for the marketing center, so we could set forecast?
Well, go ahead. Who was that? Wait, okay, go ahead, Wayne. Give me your perspective, because I'm not saying you're entirely wrong. You're a little bit right, but continue on so we can, because I'd love to get your perspective on it.
Right. So to avoid the peaks and valleys of our budgeting, and right, so I come from the world of setting forecasts.
Sure.
So you can't set a forecast unless you know basically what your revenue is. So until you know where your dips are, you can kind of adjust when you're negotiating or bringing somebody in and using the dollars that way. So you can kind of fill the dips so they're not as harsh.
Yeah, I think that's a great explanation. So I think you're good on that. And guys, I want you to speak instead of putting the things in the chat. So Liliana said something, because I can't read all the chats all the time. And plus I want to be able to have great conversation. Liliana said to offset expenses in the market center, which is similar to what you were saying, Wayne. Let's talk about how we originally maybe talk to somebody that was thinking about joining. How did we use cap management? How did we talk about it? Go ahead, Michelle.
I know in some cases, a lot of the producing agents back in the day that we were recruiting were going to leave money on the table at their previous brokerage. So cap management was a way for us to manage our profit with our expenses, the money coming in, and a way for them not to leave money on the table. It kind of helped them recoup some of the financial woes they were getting ready to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. So Michelle, since you've been around for a while, what is it that we, because I've got some information on this I'm going to take you to in a minute. I'm just kind of waiting for more people to log on. So I'm having conversations until I do my little presentation. But Michelle, what did we do with the cap management report? Do you remember that? Like as a MCA, what were you doing with the cap management report?
We were winterizing our market center.
And what did that mean?
So that would mean that we would prepare or look at the gaps where we had, like, say ours is heavy capping in January. So when we were recruiting, we would look ahead and make sure that we weren't heavy in one quarter, we were even throughout all the quarters, making sure that we were winterized, especially going into January in our slower months.
Yeah. Excellent. So you guys all gave really, really great explanations. And I kind of wanted to take you back a little bit into the original reasoning for it, which you have all explained, but there was also an explanation that we encouraged the team leaders to have when they were offering a cap management, because I think we've kind of gotten away from the original intent of cap management, that we now have a conversation about, I'll give you a free cap for a year. Okay. I don't know that we're really looking, or we'll cap manage you until this certain day. But I don't know that we ever sit down with the recruit and explain why we do it, which was the original intent, so they kind of understand why we were doing it. It wasn't just to give somebody a free cap or to move their cap to get them to come over. That was part of the reason, kind of like Michelle said, it was a transitional cost. In other words, it kind of helped people, but there was a real reason for it. And I think we kind of sometimes are missing out on that, maybe in our explanation when we're talking to somebody that's thinking about joining us, that we actually showed them the cap management report. Did somebody want to say
Georgia, we also understand that there be a disruption to their business potentially. Therefore, we're giving them an opportunity to get ingrained with the KW culture, to become a part of KW culture. And then the point that you're bringing up is also showing them that we run this as a business. And we look at our business being not just 1 month or not just a spring market. We look at it as being the overall year. And here's how you as an agent can fit into our overall program.
Yeah, you got another great explanation there. So thank you. Thank you. Hold on for a second. I gotta get into my folder here. So let me share with you. This was from the original training, because what happened was we realized at some point in time when we had agents coming and going in the market center, that if we were not cap managed, we would not have the profitability. Why is profitability important to a market center? Aside from the fact that the OP and the owners deserve profitability, why else is it important?
Profit share.
The agents.
For profit share, 100%. So this is the old recruiting great agents. Okay, I think I'm going to bring it back, to be honest with you. Okay, so cash management, as we explained, was a cash flow game plan for stable, predictable profitability throughout the year and a unique win-win advantage to bring cappers into the market center. Okay, so now the way we explained it was the OP sets the production level for a standard for a consistent capper. Add the consistent cappers you have by company dollar anniversary date to your cap management chart. I'm going to be showing these to you here in a minute. Okay. But I think what happens is we've adjusted some caps periodically, and I don't know that we've gone back and have redone our cap management report to honestly reflect maybe some legacy caps or different things that you have operating in your market center. So this was the explanation of it, but the reason I wanted to show this is because this was the original script that we wanted you to use when you were talking about cap managing somebody. Because I think now when I see in letters and different things, we'll just say, we'll waive your cap for 6 months. Well, we won't start your cap until October. I don't know that we ever really sit down with a recruit and show them our cap management report, okay, and say, you know, we believe, so imagine you have your cap management report. Imagine you've talked about profit sharing and you say, you know, we believe in win-win. I'd like to explore this with you. We're winning if you join our market center, and I want to show you how you could win. We're in August. If you come over by the end of the month, you wouldn't have to pay any company dollar until November. You'd be at 100% except for royalty until November 1st. It could help you make a transition, and it would help the market center add company dollar to a month in which we need it for our business, which then helps us do what?
Profit share.
Stay
Profit share.
profitable.
Okay. I'm not sure that we're talking about cap management as well as we possibly could. We're just saying, I'll give you a free cap or you don't have to pay any money. But we don't talk about it from the standpoint, you know, at LPT and EXP, they talk about what's the big hype right now?
Revenue share.
Revenue share. But how often do we talk about profit share like this, Marietta? You know what? We don't, right?
Not as often as we should.
Exactly. So we've got to get back to talking about the profit sharing model in our market centers. Oh, shoot, this was set to be able to be on the right page. I think it was 50, I don't remember where it was. Hold on. So, huh? 40, what, slide 43?
Yeah.
Thank- There we go. I'm not sure that we talk about profit share because in some cases, our market centers are not as profitable as they have been, okay? But again, how do we get them to be more profitable? We bring in capping agents, right? So let me go over this here with you here. So now the plan for profitability, a market center expenses, let's just pretend are 43,000. I know that's probably, you know, pretty low for most of you, but let's just, for sake of this scenario, we say they're 43,000. But how many of you have a consistent cap of $18,000 now? Okay, you do, but I'm not sure, but I don't know, Marietta. I think your cap is lower with some of your agents. Because you're out of Orange Park.
A few legacy agents.
That's what I mean. Okay, and there are 12, aren't they?
I'm not sure how many there are, so I
Okay,
will get back to you on that one.
The point I'm trying to make is, Michelle, you know this, you got people maybe on 15,000 or 13,000 or
13.5.
13.5, okay. So those are, you all don't have like full cappers. In the old days, everybody, all your cappers, you know, we have our legacy caps now. We have other things now that we have to take into consideration. So, you know, if you divide this 43,000 by 18, you're coming up with 3 cappers. If you were to take the 43,000 and you were divided by, you know, 15 or an average, you might need more cappers. Let's see. Yeah, you might need more cappers. It might be more than 3 cappers a month. So first of all, make sure when you're doing your cap management report that you're going in and that you're actually physically looking at the cappers, the cap that you're using and making sure that you're using it the right way, because you shouldn't be counting a $15,000 capper on your cap management report as an $18,000 capper. Does that make sense, everybody? Now, as long as you adjust your numbers, you're fine. But let's make sure that we're using this the correct way. Then the second thing is winterize your market center. So let's talk about what winterizing is. Cap management is only done with agents whose current production is equal to or greater than the standard cap is set by the OP. So technically speaking, if you had legacy caps, you wouldn't even be calling those people a capper. But I'm not saying that that's fair to your market center. So I'm just saying adjust your cap management report to reflect that or use a different average cap, okay? It says if someone does not pay full cap, don't add them to the cap management chart. Existing Keller Williams cappers are not allowed to move. I think you all know that, okay? And agents pay towards their royalty, and the agent's company dollar anniversary date is only moved with OP approval. I think you all know that. So this is what the cap management report should look like. Let me see if we can get this on one slide here. Okay. So does anybody want to try to explain this for me? Because I want to give somebody a chance to be able to do it. Let's see how good you are at it. Anybody want to try to explain it?
I can try.
Go ahead. Who's that, Marietta?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
So obviously in the months that we have the majority of the transactions, which tend to be that spring, you need less cappers to be profitable in your market center. So you're going to have a ton of profit. So that's why you have only, I guess it's 3 or 4. And then the numbers, and then like January and February tend to be slower months. Agents aren't working as hard, just like October, November, and December. And then the numbers are when you recruit, which is the first spot you want to recruit to.
Yeah, really, really good job. So as you're looking at this, if you look, I call them bookend months. So if I look at this, I kind of call it bookend. So if you look at January, February, March, Marietta, what you're saying to us is those are the months that are more of our lean months. So that's why we have winterize your market center there. And if you're looking in what you were saying, if you're looking at May, June, July, we have we have 2 rows there, and then we have 2 other rows that kind of take us into winterizing, right? Because in this particular case, if you go down and look at that goal, Marietta, they need to have 4 cappers every month in May, June, and July in order to be able to be cap managed. Does that make sense, Marietta?
Perfectly, yep.
Okay. So, and then you see as you spread out and you get closer to your August, September, October, November, where we get into our winterized months, or January, February, March, your winterized months, that's where we're saying we need to have more cappers, because those are our leaner months. When we go back and we look at our multi-year trends and we're seeing where our company dollar is, we're looking at our multi-year trends and we're going, okay, these are the months that we need to have more cappers. So in this particular case, this market center needs to have 69 cappers in order to be able to pay their bills, in order to be able to effectively have the profit share, to be able to go to agents. By the way, people that are going to EXP and LPT right now, are they getting any revenue share from the agents that they brought on if those agents are not having a transaction?
Nope.
Nope. So that rev share model may or may not be working too well. So we need to explain this to agents when they join us, that we're showing them our cap management to say, look, here's what we're doing in our market center, because we want to ensure we have profitability every month, because we want to have you earn that profit share. So when you have a friend or somebody that's at another real estate company that might be wanting to grow their business, like you're going to grow yours, or help them reach their big why, like we're going to help you. We have this cap management report, which helps benefit you by transitioning over, because we're going to, start your cap in 2 or 3 or 4 months. And as you can see here, so if I was talking to somebody like Marietta, I might say, Marietta, so what we're going to do is, this is April, I'm going to start your cap in August. Or if you wanted to take them out a little bit longer, because you wanted to give them some more leeway, you could do that, but then you'd know that you would put them in possibly in November. Okay. So you would be showing them and just say, what we're looking to do is fill these months up with our company dollar. So we have profitability and we can profit share. So I just wanted to make sure that you all understood that this was the original reason that this was all done this way. It was to be able to make sure our market center had profitability so we could impact profit sharing. And I think if we start talking to our recruits about why we do this, it's going to bring the idea of profit share back into the conversation. Okay, that's number one. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is you don't have to cap manage somebody to give them a company dollar. So let's just say that, yes, our cap management report is important, but let's just say you had a big hole in a couple of months, but you still wanted to make them feel like they were putting more revenue, like you wanted them to have more bang for their buck, basically. Okay. Can you give somebody, could you cap manage them, or could you actually start, let's just say you had a hole next month. Could you actually say, here, if I'm just gonna, let me see somebody that's in my line of sight here. Michael Cortez, MC. Could I say to you, Mike, here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna give you your next 10 transactions, no cost. So you're gonna earn those next 10 transactions at 100%. Now, it could be 5 transactions, it could be 7 transactions, it could be whatever. If you're bringing in a capper, are they going to, and you're giving them a year, could they possibly have 10 transactions? If they're doing 30 or 40 transactions a year, are they gonna have 10 transactions in the course of the next year? If you just said to them, look, I'm gonna give you your next 10 transactions, your average commission is $10,000. Do you realize I'm putting $100,000 in your bank account? What does that sound like to you? No, go off mute. You're on mute.
That would be amazing.
Now, what did I just say? I said that's putting $100,000, if your average commission is $10,000 and I give you your next 10 transactions for free, that's putting $100,000 in your bank account. What do you think about that, Michael?
I think that's amazing. That's going to cover for what I'm leaving on the table.
Now, what are they really saving?
Nothing.
Well, in reality, it's like, if they were on an 80-20 split at their other company, it's really, I'm giving them $20,000, right?
Yep.
But I said, you're gonna put $100,000 in their bank account. What did that kind of sound like? Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
I'm
Because,
paying them to come over.
pardon me?
It sounds like I'm paying them to come over.
I don't know, I mean, you guys might look at that and go, oh, that doesn't sound very nice, but in reality, it's the truth. They're gonna put $100,000 in their pocket, right?
Yeah.
Now, if they're on 80-20, they might say, well, wait a minute, I'm gonna pay my existing company $20,000, 20%, so that's really only $20,000. Just say exactly. But here's the thing, if you stay with your current company now, that $20,000 you're gonna be giving to them, and you're not gonna have to be giving it to me. So your next 10 transactions are on the house. Is that essentially kind of like cap management?
Yes.
Here's what I'm trying to teach you guys. We don't have to stick with one tool to be able to help people come over. I just want to explain cap management to you in a way that you really understand the meaning of it and what it was designed for. And I still think we use it. But find your holes and then make sure that you're explaining it to the person that's coming over so they understand the benefit of profit share, because it's a great way to introduce profit share into the conversation to show them how they think about it, how we think about it. Do you see what I mean? And how we're an open book company and we're going to show them the financials. But here's the other thing I want you to understand is that cap management is not only the only tool that you have. You can also you could say to somebody, could you give a new agent? Could you say to a new agent, hey, I'm going to give you your first deal. Now you could say up to a certain commission amount or something like that, because, heaven forbid they got $1 million deal. Okay. Got a X amount of dollar commission, right? I can't really talk about, whatever, but it could be $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, depending on what it would be. But could you say, your first transaction, we are going to give you complimentary at 100% up to a purchase price of, or up to a commission of X amount of dollars to reimburse you for all of your expenses. And so you have that $10,000 to put into a capital account to be able to pay your office bill, do your marketing, do all the things you need to do. So if you got a $10,000 commission, you should put that in a capital account. That's going to cover all of your expenses for probably pretty close to the next year in being with us to run your business. Now, here's my point. In OPs, you have to go and get the OP's permission for this, okay? But first of all, does it give them an incentive to go and do that to get a deal? Because could you say in the first 3 months or 6 months or something like that? Okay, so could you help them do that? The second thing is, let's make sure the money goes into a capital account or maybe collect some of the money to put towards their office bill or something. Okay. If you don't have the person, are you losing that? Are you getting the money anyway? Okay. And we're going to help and you put some criteria behind. I'm just not saying you give anybody something for free, but work out a plan with your operating principal to say, maybe it's 50%. Okay. But they have to come to all of the classes. They have to attend Ignite. They need to do this. They need to do that. There's some criteria behind it. But it also could be a marketing piece for you. Okay. Learn how you can, you don't say your first transaction free because you don't want to be doing some marketing that can affect another market center. Okay. But just say, learn how you could get your office bills or something, or put money into your capital account or whatever. You could figure out a way that you could market it, that it didn't say, your first transaction free, because we want to be respectful of offices that are not doing it around you. Okay. All right, so that's the CAP management. We talked about that with the transition plan versus offer letter. I also want to remind you, I was privileged to be able to get a rookie real estate book. Ashley, were you able to find that? I know we got busy, but maybe. Yeah, yeah, would you just put the direct link in the chat? And I'm gonna get Steve on here just in just a few minutes. Hold on for a second. Where is it? Is it under Indy, or I don't see it?
It's on the worksheet, like your topics.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean?
Sorry.
Like it's in
Okay.
there.
Yeah. Well, just put it, here you go. So it's on Keller Inc. It's on Keller Inc. So Ashley, would you just put that in there for them? Okay. Now, before we transition over to Steve, I wanted to also show you something else. And then can you guys all see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I'm sharing. Okay. I want to say a big congratulations to the market centers that are using Market Center Command. This is just a reminder that this is the platform now that every market center is going to be expected to use. And all of the tracking is being done through Market Center Command. So big shout out. According to Command, Orlando Lake Nona, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Winter Haven, Orlando South, Waterford, St. Augustine, Lakeland, you're tied. Orlando Central, South Tampa, Greater Manatee, New Tampa, you're tied. Tallahassee and Orlando Southwest are all the top 10 market centers that are putting their appointments held into Command and being tracked. So really, really great job, everybody. So congratulations. Awesome job. Now, I just want to show everybody, because we have some opportunities here for our other market centers to make sure that you're putting your appointments in Command. So you can see here, here's all the market centers listed of the 38. So you can see we have some opportunities with some of the other market centers. So I wanted to also give a congratulations to Jack's Beach and Mandarin and Winter Park and Bradenton Manatee and Lakewood Ranch, Brandon, Orange Park, South Shore, Orlando North, Claremont, Metro, and St. John's. You are using the tool. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Let's just make sure that we're using the tool at its highest level and that you're putting all of your information in there, okay? And then actually,
Georgia, can I
I'll
ask a
just go
quick
over the
question?
rest of these things with you on the next call. Yes, Marietta.
Did something happen over the weekend? I had 98 heat seekers all of a sudden that hit my account this morning.
Yep.
What happened?
443.
It's
No, what?
fantastic. And is it real?
Just
Well, I
make
don't
it,
know. I mean, I don't know where, I can't answer the question right now. And this is a great time before we transition over to Steve to introduce our new RTT. And maybe I can get her to find out some information, and we'll get with Donnie and we'll find out why that might have happened. Did you all have an influx? Cool. Well, that's good. Well, gosh, go get them, everybody. Daniela, where are you? I saw you on here a few minutes ago. Ashley, can we spotlight Daniela?
I'm here.
So as you know, Lucas made a decision. He moved over to Kelly Services, which is a company that does outsourcing, and he's going to be writing content for them. And I wanted to introduce our new RTT, Daniela. So Daniela, welcome to the team.
Thank you, Georgia.
And Daniela's going to be starting with us May 1st, but why don't you just go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You started over in the Orlando South Market Center, and now you're in Oviedo. So tell everybody how long you've been with Keller Williams and your story a little bit.
So thank you, Georgia, for the introduction. I started off Getting my license in 2019, July of 2019. Did real estate for about 6 months and decided to go into the leadership role. Did that for about 2 years, then joined a team, and then I ended up in Oviedo. But I just realized that I do enjoy the tech role, and I'm excited to help everybody. So yeah,
So how excited are you about this RTT role?
very excited. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very, very excited and she's really gonna do a good job and she and Delia are gonna work really well together because they worked in Oviedo together. And I think we got a powerhouse team of technology stewards that are gonna all take us to the next level. So Daniela, when we're done with this, I'm gonna give you your first assignment, even though you're not officially doing this, but it's kind of like a MCTT, RTT experience for you, okay? We're gonna find out how all those heat seekers showed up. All right, well, everybody, welcome Daniela to the team. We're really excited about having her. And then I just have to be able to learn how to say Delia and Daniela when I want somebody. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. So, all right, thank you. All right, Steve, are you ready to take it away?
I am.
Awesome. So thank you, Steve Tufts.
Guys, thanks for being here today. Let me get my screen shared. What I was asked to do is to give you guys a quick overview of the economic model. And so what I'd like to do, can you guys see my whole screen there now?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I will tell you that once not too long ago, I was doing Market Center Financials with my leadership group, and we were going through a group. I think I had maybe 30 people in the room, and it was all of my team leaders and MCAs and everybody. And I asked the group, how many of you right now, of the 30 of you in the room, how many of you could walk up to the whiteboard and take me through an economic model if I ask you to? And of course, the hands were sheepishly in everybody's pockets. One person raised their hand. One of the 30 of my leadership team admitted to being able to do the economic model, which I was a little disturbed about. And then I realized, well, maybe that's more normal than not. So what I'd like to do today, though, is I'd like you, particularly the team leaders or anybody that's responsible for recruiting, I'm going to ask you to please stay with me until the last couple of slides. I'll try to get there before 2:30. So please stay with me if you can. And let's just go through this. What I'm doing is I took section 3 of the MREA Business Planning Clinic, which is the economic model section, and I kind of shortened it number 1, and I added my own little twist to it. So if you'll just bear with me, I'm going to rattle through about 4 or 5 slides here real quick, which if you've had the Business Planning Clinic before, typically taught by Gene Rivers, you'll recognize this. But I added a few things. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to know that what I'm doing for you today is a little different than we do in the Business Planning Clinic. What I want you to do is to know that we're starting with the financial results that someone wants, and then we're taking them through an exercise to figure out what assumptions they need to make, and therefore, after that, what activities are needed for someone to perform on a daily basis to support the assumptions and therefore get the results that they want. And what I think we don't do very well is we don't do much with activities. Of course, the productivity coaches do, but by and large, there's more to do than what we're doing with the productivity coaches. So I'm going to take you through a couple of quick slides. Everybody knows the 40-30-30 model, right? Or the 30-30-40 model. It's the essence of the MREA book. It basically says that from your GCI, 30% of your GCI should go to expenses, 30% to cost of sales, and then you should make 40% profit on your business. I'm sure most of you, if you haven't heard of the 40-30-30 model by now, most of you have, but if you haven't, then what I'm going to ask you to do today is forget about it. But it is the essence of our economic model for a millionaire real estate agent. And then, of course, there's this exercise in the MREA book, which shows how you get from the number of leads that you need to generate down to your gross commission income. The only thing I want you to notice on this page are the numbers in the gray circles. Those are conversion rates of on activities, and I'll come back to that in just a minute. And many of you may have seen this slide before. It's where you're trying to show someone how they get to $1 million of net income, what they have to do to get $1 million of net income. And I don't know how many of you have actually used this worksheet, but I'm going to suggest that when you use a worksheet like this in a recruiting presentation, the recruit, their eyes kind of glaze over. It's just too much. I'm going to show you why. If we start with $1 million in net income, and then that means that we would have to have 2.5 million of GCI right off the top, most people's eyes glaze over. Well, then hopefully not many of you do this, but if you were to use this model in a recruiting presentation, by the time you filled it in with all these numbers and all this math, you would have clearly lost the attention of the average recruit that's sitting in front of you. Now, maybe you could have a mega agent here or there that wants to make $1 million and they're a math whiz and they might follow the math, but I'm just going to suggest from my experience, most people don't follow the math and don't really get it. Excuse me. So then what we have is we have a second version of this chart for people that only want to make $390,000. And I can go ahead and click through this and same math and go down to the bottom of this, and I can get down to the bottom. Yeah.
Steve,
I'm not seeing it change.
yeah, you're not, your PowerPoint isn't going forward. because you've been talking and I've been waiting for something, but.
Where am I?
You're at the economic model of 390.
Yeah, that's where that's where I mean to be.
Okay, now you are,
so-
you weren't before.
Was I on the $1 million one?
No, you were
No,
only on the
you're
very
on
first
page.
slide.
Sorry about
We
that.
haven't seen anything.
I'll stay right here. So
There you
we're
go.
going to start with the financials, get to the assumptions, and then figure out what activities to support the assumptions. And then I mentioned the 40-30-30 model, and then I asked you to forget about it for the moment. Then I mentioned these conversion rate charts, which we will use in a few minutes. Then I gave you this page out of the Business Planning Clinic that shows the breakdown of how you get to $1 million of net income and how many appointments you have to have a week down at the bottom. Everybody see that. And then I went to this chart, which was the same chart, but with a net income target of only $390,000. And then go through the math and you get to the appointments per week. So here's what I want you to do. Before I go to the next slide, I want you to know that this is the economic model for an MREA or a $400,000 producer. These are the right numbers. But let me ask you a question. Team leaders, what percent of your recruiting appointments are with people that want to make $400,000 or $1 million in the next year? What percent? Rebecca, I can see you on my screen. And I know you've seen
20%,
how many, just a few percent?
20% maybe.
Okay, so 80% of the people Rebecca's talking to are not really on this page. You guys got that? So what I'm going to do is give you a couple of things I want you to think about that are not on this page. I'm going to start from this page right here in the MREA book. This is page 157 of the MREA book. And I want you to notice that on this page, down at the bottom in the red square, it shows you that it's not 40, 30, 30 for everybody. Does everyone see that? So you can see over here that for a millionaire agent, yes, it's 40, 30, 30. But for the bulk of the agents we're talking to in these first two columns, up to a $10 million producer, it's not 40, 30, 30. It's kind of like 60, 30, 10. Okay? So it's about 60, 30, 10 for most of the people that you're talking to in your conversation. So what I want to do is, I want you just to keep in your mind these two numbers right here, 55 and 62. And everybody sees that that is the number, that is the profit margin for an agent that is doing $6 or $10 million in closed volume, 180 to 300 in GCI. So is it okay for me to assume that most of the agents we're talking to in today's world are in these two columns right here? So it's not 40, 30, 30. It's 60, 30, 10. Got it? 60% profit margin, 30% expenses, 10% cost of sales. Okay, 60, 30, 10. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this down and I'm going to take you to a different spreadsheet that I have. So let me open this little spreadsheet right here. Let me close
You
this.
see,
and
you're
close-
right on track because as you're talking, I just finished looking at the rookie real estate book. And for his model, in most cases, he's saying 60% is profit, And then he's just using 2020. So you're very close to what they're promoting in that book.
Perfect, perfect. I'm using the old original MREA stuff. So
Okay.
can you guys now see a little small Excel spreadsheet that says simple MREA economic model? Can you see that?
Not the spreadsheet. We're just saying refer to Excel spreadsheet or whiteboard for a simplified model. That's what we're seeing right now.
All right, hold on. It says my screen sharing is paused, so let's unpause it. How about now? Can you see a little spreadsheet
Now,
that
now
says simple?
it just flipped. Yes, it just flipped.
All right. So I
But
want you
need to
guys to
minimize-
follow.
You need to minimize it a lot. All we see is mostly the top of your,
No, I know that's that part's on purpose.
okay, very good. Okay. very good. All right, I
That
just
part's
wanna
on
make
purpose.
sure. Okay.
Is it a fair assumption to say that most of the recruits we talk to want to make $100,000 a year? Is that a fair assumption?
Yes.
Or can we at least start with that assumption? That would include all newbies and most people that are R1s and some R2s. But let's just say that the pre-tax earning goal is $100,000. Does everybody see that right here on my page?
Mhm.
Okay. If we apply the margin that we just showed on the previous chart of 55%, does everybody see that?
Mhm.
That means that the agent, to make $100,000, they have to have GCI of 182. Does everybody see the 182? Marietta, you and Rebecca are showing up on my screen, so please nod when I ask a question. That's who I know, that's how I'll know you guys did it, okay? So it says that the gross commission needed is 181. So they need to generate 181,000 in commissions. Now, if we go down through here and we just make an assumption of an average commission rate of 12,000, which if you're getting a 3% commission, that would be a $400,000 house. Just assume it's 12,000 per closing. That means that the agent needs to close 16 transactions to make $100,000. Everybody got that? Mariette, I'm still looking at you, shaking your head. Thank you. So you need to make 16 closings. And then using the conversion rates that we saw a while ago, let's say that 70% of the customers that a client works with, that's the 0.7, 70% of the clients they work with will actually close. That means that the average agent to close 16 needs to work with 23 buyers or sellers. Okay, because only 70% are going to close. So they need to work with 23. Okay. Now, let's go further. Not every agent gets every client they talk to. You know, you go out and meet with them and they say, I already got an agent, or they decide they want to talk to other people. But in general, according to NAR statistics, 70% of the people, 70 to 80% of the people will go with the first agent they talk to, first or second. So let's use a 70% conversion rate on appointments. It means in order to get 23 clients, you would need to meet with 33 people. Okay, so to get 23 clients, you need to meet with 33 people. The 23 clients, if they close at 70% conversion rate, you'll get 16 closings, which will get you the 181 you need, which will get you the $100,000 profit. Is everybody with me? Marietta, Rebecca? Okay, good. Now, I'm going to get really, really generous with the time of our new realtors because I realize that they're not going to be very disciplined. So I want you to just follow me. There are 52 weeks in a year, but do you think the average new realtor works all 52 weeks of a year? No.
No.
So let's give them all the time they need. They're going to have 2 weeks worth of holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Good Friday, whatever. We're going to give them a generous 4 weeks of vacation. Most people don't get 4 weeks of vacation if they're working a normal job, but we'll give them 4 weeks of vacation. We're going to give them 4 weeks of training because we're going to drag them into the training room regularly. 4 weeks of training. And we're going to give them 4 weeks to go to special events. Red Day, family reunion, mega camp, regional meetings. Steve Tufts is in town teaching the business planning clinic, or Gene Rivers. So they've got lots of event time to go to. So that means if you took out this 14 weeks that we're going to give them to go do other things, then they really have 38 weeks to work, that's in quote, by the way, work on their real estate business. Does everybody see that? So they have 38 weeks to get 33 appointments. So let's do the math and just round it. That means that the number of appointments they need per week with a qualified prospect to make $100,000 is 1 a week. That's just in the math. It's the math. It's not just the math, though. It's also the assumptions. We have assumptions in there about conversion rates, average selling price, average commission rate. We have all types of assumptions in there. But it says here that if they want to make $100,000, they need 1 appointment per week. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through this for every single level of production, but I want you to assume that I know what I'm doing here and the math is right. So as I squeak this over to someone now wanting to make $200,000 and following similar conversion rates, if you'll notice down here at the bottom, they need 2 appointments per week. Does everybody see that? Marietta, you see that? Now, what do you think is going to happen when I roll this thing over to the next column, Marietta? What's it going to say? To make $300,000,
3 appointments per week.
did it open for you? It didn't open for me. Got something wrong here. 3 appointments per week, and to go all the way over here to $1 million, they need 10 appointments per week. So does everybody see a relationship between how much they want to earn and their daily activities or their weekly activities? What's the relationship? Some of you have heard me say this before. 1 appointment per week equals $100,000 net income. 2 appointments per week equals $200,000 in net income. 3 appointments per week equals $300,000 in net income. 10 appointments per week equals $1 million in net income. All right. So now, this says that it's pretty straightforward connection using reasonable assumptions between how much money they want to make and what they do every week. So let me ask you as a question. Is it possible that you could pass someone in the halls and ask them, have you had your 1 appointment this week? And if they say no, then you say, well, then what are you doing out here in the hall? I mean, if you're not going to the restroom or getting a cup of coffee, go back to your office and get in your database and figure out how to get 1 appointment per week per $100,000 of net income that you want to make. Okay? You guys got that? Okay, that's pretty simple stuff. That's pretty simple. Now, there's a lot of math in here, but the relationship is true. A rule of thumb, for every $100,000 that you want to make, you need 1 appointment per week. It's very, very simple. And so we do a lot to get there in the math and in the assumptions, but we're there. So let me close this down and go back to my other talk I was doing here.
And Steve, we can redo this, but can you send this to us so we can send it out to everybody?
Absolutely. I'll send it to Ashley when I'm done, okay? All right, so let's see if I
You know,
can
this is so on track with the Rookie Real Estate book. You guys are gonna love, love, love that book.
All right, so now let me go back to my PowerPoint. Can you guys see my PowerPoint again?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
you're on the refer to the Excel spreadsheet or whiteboard for simplified.
I just did. I just took you to my Excel spreadsheet, which I'm happy to share with you, and you can play with it. Now, here's what I want to do. This is new. This isn't out of the business planning clinic. So let's talk about this. What I have here on this chart is activities. So you can see at the top, it says the results I want require me to make some assumptions. Excuse me. And those assumptions indicate that I have some activities that I need to do to support the assumption. So let's go down this real quick. Assumption number 1 is I want to make a profit margin of 50 to 60%. Okay. Then my key activities are I need a P&L, I need accountability to expenses, and I need to learn how to do the free activities first. Because at a $100,000 net income level, we're not going to go out and buy a bunch of leads and throw a bunch of parties and have a bunch of fancy dinners. We're going to do open houses and door knocking, and we're going to do the free activities first. So as you're coaching these realtors that want to make $100,000, the first thing you do is you say, get your P&L in order, learn how to manage your expenses, and do the free stuff first. Okay, do the less expensive stuff first. Okay, now, second assumption was an average commission of $12,000. It means they need to target farms that have houses in those farms that at their commission rate will generate a $12,000 commission. And therefore, they need to find these farms and they need to master the scripts around commission objections. Here's what my commission is. Here's the value I give you for it, et cetera, et cetera. They need to master the commission scripts. Otherwise, they may not make an average commission of $12,000. Number three, they need to build a database and create marketing plans. The database needs to be about 200 to 300 names in it. And so what we're going to do with them is we're going to tell them, go network within your sphere of influence until you build a database of 200 to 300 names. And don't let them get tricked into thinking that a big database is going to automatically make them rich, because 10,000 names in a database, 10,000 names of people you don't know might not do it for you. Okay, so let's network to build a database. Let's do targeted marketing plans. What I mean by that is break the database into groups of 20 or 30 of people that are similar that would respond to a marketing plan. We're not just going to click a smart plan and send the same thing to everybody. That's not going to get us there. Okay, so we're going to target our marketing plans into groups of people that are similar. It's called segmentation in marketing vernacular. We're going to segment our database into groups of people that have similar habits. We're also going to work open house to build our database, and we're going to hang out with our sphere of influence to build our database. Then we're going to do whatever it takes to get the number of appointments per week we need. So we need to time block the time to generate leads. But here's two things that I think go unknown, and that is, can you master a script on the telephone, and can you master pre-qualification criteria so that the people that you're meeting with actually are ready to buy a home? So they're not spending time hanging out with people that aren't actually going to buy a home. So they need to master some phone scripts and work on pre-qualifying customers. And then lastly, our numbers were built on a conversion rate of 70 to 75%. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to master these scripts. Try to figure out how to do a good buyer consultation, how to do a good listing appointment, how to do it in a way that makes the customer happy, not just, going out there and regurgitating everything we know about real estate and how we do our brochures and how we do our websites, but actually tuning into the customer and mastering the script. So this chart shows you the 5 major assumptions that I just covered in this economic model and what the activities are that make those assumptions come to life. Okay, so it's not just go out there with a database and start marketing to them, but do it in such a way that you hit these numbers. You get a profit margin of 60%. You get an average commission of 12,000. You have 200 to 300 people in a database that matter. You're getting the appointments you need and you're converting at the right conversion rate. And if you hit all of these assumptions, you'll hit the number that I mentioned earlier on the Excel spreadsheet on the previous page. Okay, so this is their job. Their job right here in the key activities column. An agent's job when they join Keller Williams is to do those 10 or 12 things that are on that list. So let me wrap this up. Number one, for every $100,000 of profit that your agents need, the economic model says they need 1 appointment per week with a motivated and qualified prospect. They cannot be just hanging around the office waiting for something to happen. So therefore, their full-time job is to build the database and marketing campaigns that will generate the leads. And then in their spare time, they got to master the scripts they need to hit the conversion rates that we've put in there. And then here's what I want to say to each of you on this call. For those of you that remember the Mike Forza, excuse me, or Mike Bastian recruiting stairs, you're trying to position yourself in such a way that the recruit thinks that you know things that they need to know. Everybody got that? You know things that they need to know. And our value proposition is we know things that you need to know, and we'll teach it to you if you'll join our company and commit to learning it. And so this is the essence of a recruiting call using the economic model. Now, I just covered that in about 20 minutes. So if you get to this in a recruiting call in, let's say, 30 minutes, let's say 30 minutes it takes you to get to this point where you're basically saying, so how does that sound to you? Does that sound like something you could do? Okay, if you join our company, we'll teach you how to do it. Okay, and then the recruiting call using the economic model becomes much easier. They don't have to follow the math. They need to know two numbers. If I want to make $100,000, I need one appointment a week. If I want to make $200,000, I need to make two appointments a week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and you'll show them, if they join our company, how to make those assumptions come to life for them so they can make the amount of money that they need to make. And that is all I have to say about that today.
Yay.
Really great job, Steve. I know you haven't seen the book, and actually I'm going to take you there. But Steve, I don't know if you read the Rookie Real Estate book yet, but you're like right on target with everything that's in that book. With the things that you said and everything. I mean, this real estate, well, I'm going to take you there. Real estate for rookies. Steve, you couldn't have been more perfect with everything that you were saying. And I think with what Steve is talking about, they even have the economic model in the book, and they give you 2 or 3 examples of it. So I think using Steve's definition and then having this book when it comes out, you're going to get a sample of it in May. I think is really going to be beneficial. But until you get the book, I think Steve was just right on, Steve. And with our 10 qualifying questions that I'm actually converting to the entrepreneurial words, I think you gave us some really good examples of how we could do this. So thanks, Steve. Any questions for Steve? Did he give you some good information to be able to go out and get some new agents? Or Steve, even experienced people. You know, what I love is people want flexibility and freedom, right, Steve? And what you put in there is you said, I don't know how many days you gave them, but at least 2 weeks of taking off in the year, didn't you? Pretty close to 14 days or something.
Yeah, it's 14 weeks. They get 14 weeks off. Ask them if they're committed to work 38 weeks a year and do what you tell them to do. Would they think that would be a pretty good job to make $100,000? And most of them will say yes.
Yeah, so 14
The
weeks.
answer is, well, you got to join our company for us to teach you how to do this.
Maybe that's what you guys need to market to. Maybe that's your tagline. Do you want to work, what would that be? 2 months off? Do you want to work 10 months a year and make $100,000? Do you want to work 10 months a year and make, $200,000? Maybe you use some of these things in some of your social media and some of your marketing. Let me show you really quickly here. I know we're getting close to 2:30. Let me show you really quickly here. Can you guys see my screen? Hold on, right here. There you go. So this is the new book, and they're for sale now. You're going to see a copy of it at Mega Leadership. But I'm going to tell you, I've seen it, I've read it, it's amazing. You'll want to use it. I would be buying this book now because I think it's going to be really, really helping you in your, not even for new agents. I think any agent that's like a R1, that's anywhere from, this could honestly, it's kind of like the Millionaire Real Estate Agent simplified. Do you know what I mean? It's more detailed out, but it's really like the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, but it's just more simplified as to how to do the business. So I would highly encourage you guys to get that. So Steve, we can get your spreadsheet and a couple of your other things?
Yeah, I'll send them to Ashley.
Awesome. Any other questions for Steve?
No, he was fantastic.
He's always fantastic.
Is the Rookie Real Estate Agent going to be an easier read? Because for newer agents, what I've heard in the past is the MREA is a very tough read. And I said, yes, it's a business Bible.
No, this is very simple. It's very simplified. Okay, it's very simplified. That's what I said. It's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, but very, very simplified as to what it's written on a very, I'm going to use the word elementary level, but very basic level of how you need to do things. It's very basic. But they've done a really good job. There's probably 3 or 4 chapters on, it's not specific to Keller Williams, just so you know, but it's very much in line with the 36 touch and all the things that we do. And they tell you what those touches need to be. They do the economic model for like $100,000. They talk about the sphere of influence and how important that is and how important putting your contacts in a database are. But it takes you through each one of those. There's probably 3 to 4 chapters on lead generation and then and conversions and different things. It doesn't get into scripting or anything like that. And then it gets into buyers and sellers, and then it gets into contracts, negotiations, and it's very, very good. Very, very good. You guys will not be disappointed with it. So I would order your cases so you get it sent out. I'm not sure when they're shipping. I heard it was like summertime, maybe June, but you're going to get you're going to get a sample of the book and Mega Leadership. I think you'll all really, really like it. All right. Just a reminder, we still have our last event, April 24th in Tampa for Jeff Glover. I was at that event. It's amazing. So if you're in Tampa or even in Orlando, or you've got people, I know you're going to have it in Jacksonville as well. It takes about 3 hours. I think it's from 9 to 12 that he really breaks down getting listings. He does some social media content. He even has a sample of getting a listing that he goes through. So he has a buyer and a seller in a video, and then he plays it, and then he tells what happens. He plays and he tells what happens. It's really, really good. So I would encourage you to, for $39, to get your people to go to that. I still have some openings for career visioning on April 23rd. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Of course, the one and only Gene Rivers is going to be doing Team 1 on May 2nd here in Orlando. And then put these dates down. June 26th and 27th, we have Phil Jones. Now, Steve, you just had Phil Jones in your area. What did you think of him?
He's really the first guy that I've listened to in a long time that I took more than one paragraph of notes. I took pages of notes listening to him.
Awesome.
He was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So you've seen him on stage, for an hour or two. I've spent 2 days in New York. It was amazing. And we're bringing in the certification course to be certified, to be able to use his materials, not for teaching, but to be able to, say to someone, you're certified in the Phil Jones material. They give you access to other videos and to other insights that he's going to be providing. It is a little pricey. The cost is going to be $8.99, but it's for a 2-day course to get certified. If you go to New York and take this, it's $5,500. It's $5,500 plus travel and expenses and everything else. So we're having this here in Orlando. We're going to be doing an invite only on June 25th. I want to kind of talk to you guys about that. I'm not going to do it right now, but I think what we're going to do is invite our top agents to that, not just ALC members, but specific agents. So I might get with a few of you and mastermind how you think we should do that. And we're going to be sending this out shortly. If you're not in our region, the cost is going to be $12.50. If you're in our region, the cost is $8.99. And I think what we might do is some bundle pricing, that if you wanted to get 5 tickets, then we might give you a ticket for free or something. So we're gonna figure out some things on that. But just make sure we mark those down. And we're going to have room for about 100, 125 people. And there's going to be a networking event with him as well. 2 networking events, actually, receptions, in addition to just being able to have him for 3 days. It's going to be amazing. So put those days down. Anything else, Ashley?
Hey, Georgia.
Yes.
Hey, on that Jay Papasan book, The Rookie Real Estate Agent, I just tried to buy it on Amazon. And it says it's not available until like September 9th.
Okay.
Does Keller Williams sell it now, or is there just?
So that's why I took you to the Keller Inc. site. Don't go to Amazon.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
think they're more expensive on Amazon too. I'm not sure.
Okay. I just like Amazon, but okay.
I understand, but
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have a better chance of getting it sooner, possibly, if you go to,
Keller Inc. Okay,
how much
cool.
were they on Amazon?
Let me see. It's 20, well, when you add in, it's 24.99.
Yeah, I think if you go, I think if you
Yeah,
buy,
Damien just told me we've got a case on order, so I'll just hold off. Thank you,
yeah, and I
Damien.
think they're $15 if you go to Keller Inc.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris, for letting us know that, though. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll talk. Let's go grow, 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 grow. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Georgia, I wanted to tell you that our team did an amazing job this weekend on Saturday. Elise and Anna, we had over 250 attendees at our Easter egg hunt. It was amazing.
Wow, good job.
Everyone got leads. Every agent that was there walked away with leads. We are so proud of Anna and Elise, so I wanted to give them a shout out.
You know, that's a great idea, Marietta. We need to start our, Ashley, remind me this. We need to start our calls off with who did something good in their region or in their market center that we can talk about to, you know, to build productivity and show value to their agents. So good job. So maybe on our next call, so everybody hears that, you can make a notation to remind me that, so you can talk about that, okay?
Yes, I would love to give them the credit that they deserve.
Awesome. And everybody got a lead, so that's important.
It was amazing. We somehow we hit News for Jax, which is our local Jacksonville news, and all the sites that were talking about events. And we had over 200, and we're going to take that momentum to build for our summer bash.
Oh, very good. Very good.
No,
You know,
we're super
something
excited.
else, Marietta, while Rebecca's on here too, that you might want to think about, because I put it down, I was thinking about ideas to give to market centers. You know, I used to have, we used to do a first-time homebuyer seminar in our market center. Because what happens is if you go tell an agent, go do a first time, they don't have the clue how to do it.
Correct.
Some do if they're a team, but most don't. So if you say, guys, we're going to do a first time homebuyer seminar, you find the mortgage guy, you find the finance guy, you know, like a a financial planner that can talk, or a
Yeah.
CPA that can talk about the benefits of taxes and all that kind of stuff. You know, Jean could even do that, but, or even Rebecca, but, and then a mortgage guy and an insurance person. Do you see what I mean? They can help you.
Yeah, it's modeling it for them.
Yeah, and
Well, but Georgia, it's that first time homebuyer seminar is right on KW Connect, and I've had brand new Ignite people be able to teach it. That's how easy it is.
I understand, but
And they won't do it.
They won't do it on their own.
Right. We did it as a group, and I told them, I said, you would meet with one person on a Saturday morning. So if you only have one person come to it, you're better off than if you have nobody.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I talked to him blue in the face.
But it could be a value added item that you're doing as a market center to invite your clients to a first time homebuyer seminar, and then you have somebody teach it. You know, because not everybody's like us, Rebecca. They don't want to get up in front of people. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do, but you can have somebody teach it or get 2 or 3 different experienced people. But here's the thing, you want to make it so the agent that's bringing their guest gets the business. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful
Yeah.
about who you have in front of the room, that they're not a real estate agent is going to take the business away because the client sees them as more better than they are. You could teach it, or Rebecca could teach it or something. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I did that on Saturday the whole time. I was asking them, so, you know, Keller Williams First Coast put this event on. Are you a homeowner?
Right.
You know, are you looking to buy? Great, let me connect you with a great agent. I literally grab the person, walk them over to one of our agents, and just continue. So I would be happy to do something like that. That's
you know, you guys could even market it. You could even market it to like apartment complexes. You know, Keller Williams First. Are you guys First Coast?
Yes.
Yeah, Keller Williams First Coast, first time home buyer seminar, and then get your agent. You know, the idea is to get that for the agents to see that you're giving them something, that you're providing value, that you're doing something for them. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like when I said, hey, you're going to put $100,000 in your pocket. They're really not. I mean, they are, but they're really saving 20,000, which is in reality the cap, which is the same as cap management. Do you see what I mean?
100%.
But it's just done differently, and it's like they're getting a signing bonus.
Correct.
I don't know. We just gotta be different and do things like other people do, you know? So
Yep.
anyway, all right. Well, thanks. Great job. I'm so proud of
Thank
you guys.
you.
Awesome job. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.